Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing well. I haven't been about. Life has sort of taken over. I started my placement, everything kind of got on top of me, but I'm back. I'm not going to be able to upload 3 videos a week. I'm definitely going to aim for at least 1 and more if I do have them. Yeah, I'm not going to hold myself to a schedule. I'm just going to upload when I can upload, and I hope you're all okay with that. So I've been debating what to do for this first video in like a month and a half, and I always didn't film today just because of the state my skin is in. I'm having a proper breakout at the moment, so I decided to take this as an opportunity instead to show you how I apply my makeup when I do have a breakout like this. I used to have much worse acne when I was younger, and I spent so long perfecting my technique on how I can make makeup just sit smoothly and as high coverage but as natural looking as possible. So whilst I have quite a few big breakouts that are dry and crusty and very red, I'll show you how I cover them up. I also almost didn't film this as well because I was just a bit insecure about how my skin looked. I haven't had anything this big in a while. Like, I think this one is really annoying me at the moment. From the YouTube videos I watch, I don't really care if they have acne. I actually even appreciate it because I can see actual skin texture and it's more relatable in a way. We're going to embrace it. We're going to embrace the skin texture. So let's just get into it. Take you right from the beginning with prep. Prepping your skin, especially when you have any acne or scarring, is so important. If you don't have a good base for your makeup to go onto, then your makeup just isn't going to look good, no matter how expensive or the techniques you use. If your skin is dry, flaky, not clean, the makeup is not going to sit very well. So one thing you should do is use some type of liquid exfoliant toner. So these are my 3 favorites. I have the one I'm using currently, which was doing really great before I've had this little breakout. I think this is a stress breakout, I can't lie. It's the Glow Recipe Watermelon Glow PHA and BHA Pore Tight Toner. It's making me look really glowy and it just helps shed any dead skin. You want to look for the sort of BHAs, AHAs, because they are what smooths your skin out a lot. I find as spots heal, my skin gets really flaky around them, and that's when makeup just doesn't sit very nicely. So it's very important to exfoliate that, but not to be too harsh with sort of a physical exfoliant. That's why I stick to liquid exfoliants, and these sort of products will also prevent some future spots as well. The next one I really like and is a cult favourite is the Paula's Choice 2% BHA liquid exfoliant. This one's got salicylic acid in it. Once again, it just is amazing at making you look glowy, radiant and healthy, and helps just smooth over that texture. And the last one I'm going to show you is the Ordinary Glycolic Acid 7% toning solution. This is one I will specifically go to if my skin is literally peeling. My prescription acne gel can sometimes take a toll on my skin and make it start peeling and shedding. And I think that does help with making my skin look healthier because it's shedding the layers. But the process of it is not cute. This is amazing at just smoothing that out and removing the dead skin that I can put makeup on. Now you've exfoliated, you still want to make sure your skin is really moisturized. So this is a product I've actually been using recently, and it's the I actually can't say it. I've never tried to say this aloud. It's COSRX. If you know how to pronounce that, let me know. But it's the Advanced Snail 96 Moussing Power Essence. Leaves my skin dewy, healthy. I haven't had any problems with sensitivity or anything since using this. So I just take about like a pump, put it between my fingers, and I just smooth it gently across my whole face. And it absorbs really quickly as well. I don't feel like I have any sort of residue or anything. I get really sensitive skin. Just gently rubbing it made my skin go so red. I sort of pat it in. Let me give you a close-up of how my skin is looking. I should have done it before that snail stuff, but as you can see, it's very scabby, and especially this side's not doing too good. But yeah, this is how it is looking. So now I'm going to moisturize. Even if you have oily skin, you need to moisturize before you put on makeup. It just helps the base so much. I use 2, might be a bit overkill, but it's how I roll. The Ordinary Natural Moisturising Factors plus HA, hyaluronic acid, I'm pretty sure. One of the only moisturisers that doesn't break me out. I have tried, like CeraVe gives me loads of bumps on my forehead. I don't know what it is. I have tried so many moisturisers and this is the only thing that works. I actually have 3 backups in the cupboard under my sink because I can't live without this stuff. I like to mix in a bit of La Roche-Posay Cicaplast B5 balm. So this is a soothing repairing balm. Just helps with any sensitivity. It's very thick, that's why I don't use it on its own, and I like to mix it in. Just helps it soak in a lot better. It also says it has antibacterial agents, might be why it doesn't break me out, but yeah, I find it mixed in with another moisturizer apply so much easier. I have tried on its own and it's like trying to rub Sudocreme into your face. As a moisturizer, it just doesn't work. So I take like this much of the ordinary one, but this much of the La Roche-Posay one, and I just mix them in together and rub them all over my face. I also take it down my neck because you want your neck to also be moisturized. So I find if I've got dry skin, moisturizer normally just soaks in really quickly. Yeah, my skin feels a lot better for that. It was already feeling a bit tight. So that is my skin prep, and that is what I do just before I put on any makeup. It's already helped smooth over these spots. I think I have still some bumps because it is nature, that is how acne loves to work. Yeah, let's just get onto the makeup. So quick disclaimer before we get to this part. If you have acne or any spot that you're trying to cover that is super red like this, or scabby, or just very bold, it's unlikely you're going to cover it up completely. I know that's probably not what you're wanting to hear from this video, but makeup isn't meant to be a mask. And if you're someone with acne, you sort of notice if you just tone it down a bit without having to look flawless and perfect, your confidence just goes up a lot more. You don't need to completely get rid of it. I would rather have lesser coverage and spot conceal a bit, but still have the other parts of my face, sort of like these areas, looking like skin in a way. I don't want to have a heavy full coverage foundation that just feels uncomfortable, and it probably doesn't help with acne in the long term. I'll show you what I mean and how I like to do it. I'm not saying I'm going to use a Glossier skin tint and be done with it. Be aware, your skin will not look photoshopped. Skin is skin and it's going to look like skin. I don't really know how else to put it. I'm going to get a bit closer so you can see the texture as I can do this. Okay, so I'm going to use my favorite foundation today, and I find this is so good, especially on my skin type, over acne. So this is NARS Sheer Glow. It says sheer in the title. I don't think it's sheer at all. Definitely a medium coverage. I like to best apply my foundations with a damp sponge. This is my Real Techniques one. It's really squishy and nice. I find applying a sponge helps lay product on top of spots instead of a brush, which I find can disturb it. The skin on acne, especially when it's scabby, is not the same as your normal skin. If you use a brush, for some reason, I just find it doesn't sit very nicely. Whereas this, it sort of lays a layer on top. And if you set with powder, you can get a really smooth finish that still has loads of coverage. So I always recommend a sponge. You just want to make sure you clean it a lot. You don't know what sort of bacteria spots have, and you don't want to cause any more. Sponge is really easy to clean. I just use a bar of soap. It could be the cheapest soap out there, and it just gets most of the makeup out of your sponge as well. I'm gonna give this a shake, and I'm gonna pour a little bit on my sponge. So I've got about like this much. It's really hard to control this foundation because I don't have a pump. You need to work in layers. I know it could be tempting to just pile on the coverage as much as you can, but don't do that. If you work in layers, everything just looks so much more smoother, and you can apply coverage where you need it and leave the areas that don't need coverage to look nice and natural, and that just helps with the overall appearance as well. Okay, so I'm just gonna dot this everywhere to begin with. I don't know if this is silly, but I know if my mum does this. You want to always pat with a sponge. Don't wipe, pat, because that just helps build up the coverage without disturbing any of your skin underneath a lot better. Always bring it down the jaw. You need to always do that, and especially for me, because I do actually have some acne along my jawline. I love this foundation so much. I barely used any. It looks so smooth, and it's already toned down the redness on them spots so much. I'm going to leave the foundation at that. I like how it's built up on my skin, and I think it's given me an overall lovely finish. You can see this is how it's looking. I'm not done though. If you want to build up more coverage of your own foundation, you can, but this is just my preference. Now it's time to go in with concealer. I recommend this concealer so much for acne because it is such a high coverage, but it looks so natural. It's the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer. Now it's just in a little tub, and this is so long wearing as well. So I just take it on a concealer brush. This is my Zoeva 142 Concealer Buffer, and I just go over any acne or scarring. Just dot on top. like so. So this is how we're looking, very cute. I've just dotted this concealer over wherever I want to cover. Now I sort of leave it for a moment to set down. Because this is a soft matte concealer, it still has some blendability in it, but it does set down a bit. And using this brush, you can sort of try and blend the edges into foundation. That's why it's really important that the concealer matches your skin tone and it's not too light or too dark, otherwise you'll draw attention to your spots rather than camouflaging them. So after I've sort of pressed that in with the brush a bit more, I'm gonna go back in my sponge, still on the side that I had the foundation, and I'm gonna gently tap over it. You wanna be gentle because you don't wanna disturb the product, but you wanna blend the edges out. And try not to move too much about on the spot because the sponge picks up the product and puts it back down, which is what blends the edges. But if you're moving that around a big area, you're spreading that coverage out. Whereas if you're doing it like this, you're going to keep that coverage where you want it. And voila, that looks gorgeous. I sort of a very quick hand with this, where I go like, you just really want to be gentle. See, look how great this works. Okay, and to this bad side, which is sort of my worst side at the moment. Okay, and I think I'm done blending that out. As you can see, this just looks very different to how I looked before. This just looks so much more toned down to how I looked before. It's not perfect. You can still see a slight shadow of this one here, which is why this one is frustrating me so much because it's so red. But overall, it just takes down the harshness of them so much that when I've done the rest of my makeup, you don't even really notice that they're there. And if I get you in close, look at the texture. It still looks so smooth. There is still a tiny bit of flakiness, but that's just because they are essentially scabs. They're going to be a bit flaky, but they are so much better than what they would have been if I didn't do that prep or these sort of methods with the stamping. If I was going in with, I don't know, like pretend this is a dense brush and doing this, it will disturb the spots a lot. I'm just going to take some of this concealer around my eyes because I have bags. And I'm just going to take a tiny bit of the Colourpop Pretty Fresh one because that's a bit of a lighter shade. As the soft matte one I have at the moment is that my face colour. Okay, so now you have your base makeup on, how are you going to make it last? You want to set it down with powder. I know that can feel a bit contradictory from what I'm saying about it being flaky, but you need to set it down with powder. You just want to work sparingly with your powder. I'm going to take this Zoeva 106 powder brush. It's very sort of fluffy. It's not that dense. You want to go as fluffy as possible and gentle as possible. And I'm going to take it in what is left of my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless powder. And I'm going to lightly stamp over my skin and my eyes because I need to set that. Setting as well is really important to take away that shine, because if you have acne that is very sticky out, I don't know what the right term is, or like textured, if your skin's shiny, it highlights that even more because it sort of shines off of the raised parts. So by setting it down, it sort of camouflages that a lot more. In conclusion, setting helps to camouflage any shininess, which can enhance your texture, and it also makes sure that that concealer and foundation we've just worked so hard on stays in place. And some powders as well have some coverage that can help even your skin out even a little bit more. Speaking of that, if you do have a spot that you want even more coverage on, another trick I have is to take a powder foundation. So I've got the MAC Studio Fix one. You just take a little dense brush. I have the Morphe E17. It's very small, very dense, and just take some of the product. What do I want to cover? This. You just tap it on. It can sort of blend it into your skin even a little bit more. Because it's a powder as well, it just helps with that longevity. You just want to make sure it really is your skin colour, otherwise it will stand out like a sore thumb. I'm a bit scared to put it on this one because this one's really dry. You can also use this as just your powder. I've already set my face, so I'm not going to do that, but that is another way to just add some more coverage. And if you're going to do that, I really recommend this one. This is great for adding some coverage but still looking smooth and not too heavy. So this is how my skin's looking. In comparison, I'm going to just do it side by side. Look at the difference. This is insane. I'm going to do a little bit more of my makeup and I'll be right back. I'm back a bit earlier than I said. Just wanted to jump in here with another quick tip. If you do get acne in sort of areas where you apply other products like bronzer, you want to be careful with the technique you're using. You don't want to be buffing or blending out too rough because you're just going to take off that coverage that you spent so long building. So I take some product and I almost stamp it on. I will mostly use this technique in the areas where I have acne just because I'm being extra cautious. So like this side of my face, I have it sort of where the bronzer goes, but I don't have to worry about it so much on my forehead, so I can do the circular motions. But yeah, that is just another trick. I don't need to go through all this effort and just take it all off with that technique of the rest of your makeup. And you can do really gentle circular motions, so if you just want to flick or do buff in really small motions, but I find going light like that, it sort of blends itself most of the time. But yeah, I'll be back when I'm actually done. So I've done some more of my makeup, all bar blush. I'm going to film a video after this one of the Huda Beauty blushes. I'm going to do one each cheek so we can see the colours and just have a little play around and a little review. But there is one last step I want to mention, and that is setting your makeup with a setting spray. So depending on your skin type, the sort of products you used, you could have your skin looking a little bit powdery or heavy. I would then recommend going in with sort of a hydrating setting spray or a smoothing one. So something like Colourpop's Pretty Fresh, I find that makes my skin just look so healthy and glowy, but it won't take away from your coverage. Or something like Max Fix Plus, they also help take away any powdery finish. But if you don't have any of that, then you can just go for a simple long wearing one. My two favourites are the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray and Urban Decay All Nighter. I find they stick makeup to my face like no other. I would put that on, but I'm gonna film this video, so I don't want to do that in case it messes with the blush. But yeah, here's one final little close up of my skin. I'll do a little comparison with earlier in the video, but it's not perfect, as you can tell. Still can slightly see some acne scarring, but as I said, it is so much more toned down and you wouldn't even notice it. If you walk past me in the street or saw me, it may not look airbrushed, photoshopped in person, but whoever does, I'm really happy with how it looks. This sort of makeup makes me feel so confident. If you get these techniques down, they sort of become second nature, and this is how you just always apply your makeup, and that's how you just look so smooth and radiant. I did really enjoy filming this video, and if you ever want to see something else like this where I share some of my top tricks. I'm only 20, but I have been wearing makeup for 7 years. I'm spending a lot of time working with my skin and its difficult skin type and concerns, and I used to wear makeup every day for school, and it would be this sort of makeup where it's very skin focused. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to see me again. Still not sure how often I'm going to post, but keep an eye out for me and I'll be there at least once a week. I really enjoyed filming this and I can't wait to get back into it. I'm so excited. I got lots of products to share with you that I've been trying because I kept buying makeup but I wasn't filming any videos. I do also do short reviews on my Instagram called Time to Put My Face On. So if you like product photography, go check that out. But yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.